Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to make it look like she's coming out of a frame and kind of levitating off the ground. First, you have to make sure you have a picture of somebody. Every part of them should be coming from out of the frame. Anything behind the frame is going to be erased. So you have to have an original image, and then you have to have a picture. This is the original, so there's no chair. I mean, it's over here, but no chair here, and you've got the person missing. Go back to this one. We're going to use the lasso tool to just kind of go maybe an inch or so outside of where she is. I don't have to do any pen tooling right now. So that is selected pretty quickly. Again, that's the lasso. Click on the moving tool, and I'm going to move her over and drop her on this one. I'm going to go ahead and go back and just X this out so it's not in the way. Now that I have this, I have to line it up. I'm going to kind of eyeball this for a second and see where it sort of looks like it goes. If you're having trouble getting it in place, that looks like it just fell in there. You could also change the opacity over here and kind of make sure things are lining up that way. So she looks like she's lined up pretty good. I'm now going to go back in, and there's some stuff. If we zoom in here and look at the ceiling, that's kind of not matching up very well. But if I go in with the eraser and I make it fuzzy, kind of feathered, so these fuzzy erasers here, come back over here and I'm going to make my brush larger. I can then kind of click in these areas, and by using that fuzzy eraser, it makes it a lot more forgiving, all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to zoom out and kind of just go around those edges that I created. And if I can't see them, I can kind of come in here and just kind of do this. Now I need to get really close up to this frame. I don't want her legs in here at all. So I'm going to get as close up here as I can. Smooth that out. Okay. Now I need to get right up against the frame, and the best way to do this to really get your details perfect is to use the pen tool. So I'm going to go in, and I'm going to start from her elbow here and make this a nice straight edge. Click around the frame. Very careful to get all these details, because the cleaner you can cut this, the more realistic it's going to look in the end. And that should be a straight edge on out of this way. And now I'm just going to kind of click around at the bottom, and I'm just grabbing this chunk that's down here. Once you get to this point, you got to remember, you stay on the pen tool, you right click, make selection. I'm going to put a, one's probably good for this one. Put a 1 in here, and now I can just hit delete on the keyboard as long as I'm on layer 1. So I hit delete, select, deselect, and there might be a few places like over here that I can come back in with my fuzzy eraser and make sure that's kind of a nice clean edge. I think that looks pretty good. Zoom out, and there's Lily floating in a frame. If your colors don't match up, which this looks like it does, but sometimes your image, let me show you what it can look like. Image adjustments, brightness, contrast. Sometimes your original picture might be a little bit brighter, not that much brighter, but, and you can kind of play with brightness, contrast right in here. I'm going to hit cancel because mine looked good. I'm going to go ahead and crop this picture so that it's not all of the stairs, and I don't want this, I really don't want the garbage in it, but I guess I'm stuck with that. So I'm going to make this my picture now. And quickly I want to go ahead and show you how to make a shadow, because that's what pushes this to kind of look real. If you go back in and do a loose, I would say very quick pen tool, you just need the frame. Pen tool kind of quickly. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to make this really blurry. Once I get it to this point, I'm going to right click, make selection. 1 is fine. So I have a selection now. What I want to do with this is something we haven't done before though. I'm going to go over here, go down to the bottom and make a new layer. I'm then going to go over to the paint bucket tool, which if you can't see it, it's under this square, the gradient. So I'm going to get paint bucket. I need to get a gray color, so I'm going to click down here, I want kind of a dark gray. I'm going to paint bucket in over Lily. So she's gone for now. Select, deselect. I'm going to use the moving tool. And if you have your show bounding box selected, you should just be able to grab at the top here. I'm going to flip this upside down. And I'm going to drag it here so we can see it right now. Then I'm going to go in and under Filter, Blur, there's this Gaussian blur. I'm going to click on that. And if I zoom out, I can now kind of play with this radius. And if you watch over here, it's starting to blur it. There it goes. I had to do it a lot. Now I've got this really nice kind of blurry blob over here. I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to change the opacity of this layer because I want my shadow to be kind of see-through. There it goes. Instant shadow. And if you wanted to get really tricky with it, you could go back in and use like a fluffy eraser. And kind of where there'd be these gaps, you could do a little bit of some gaps. I'm not going to do that right now though. And I'm going to move it a little bit further down. It should be kind of down here. Maybe not even that noticeable, but you know, if you looked, you could kind of see it down here. The last fun detail you could try to do is to make Lily look like she's coming from some other interesting universe. So I'm going to zoom in on her. I found a galaxy picture. So I'm going to drag that over. If I take this and rotate it and drop it behind her, and now I'm literally going to drag layer 3 underneath layer 1 because I want this to be behind her. I can go in and I can pen tool out all of these gaps in here. So I'm going to pause this and go ahead and do that. Alright, so I'm almost done. You have to be careful to pen tool pretty precisely or it's going to look like you did what we're doing here. So I right click, make selection, and all I've done to create this, if you remember, is drop the galaxy layer underneath everything. I'm now working on the layer that has Lily on it, and once I've selected it, I just hit delete on the keyboard. So delete, select, deselect, and I should be able to zoom out now. And there's Lily floating in space, coming from who knows where, and she's got a shadow down here that kind of helps push that idea of it being real. So at this point, when you're done, you would just go File, Save As, and this one is your name, frame. And the final file, as always, is a JPEG. With our Weebly accounts, it's been kind of weird if we put it at a large file. It's been saving these extremely large, and I think that might have something to do with our computers. I mean, like, way too big. So maybe drop these back down to like a 7 or an 8. Hit OK. And that's it. There you go. Floating frame.